It's the end of the year, and that means it's time for wrap-up videos. You guys have already probably seen plenty of them on other channels, including my other channel. Now, on the second channel, as well as on Rumble, we went over your top fives as far as viewers, which pistols got the most views in 2024, as well as what the readers chose in 2024. Kind of interesting to look at the differences and similarities between what folks who want to read and see numbers and what folks who are just watching videos are interested in. Now it's time for my picks. These are my top guns for 2024. Now these are in no particular order other than alphabetical by manufacturer, because I wanted to be fair to them all, and it's more than 5. I'm sorry guys, reviewing 52 guns a year makes it really hard to narrow down to 5, and I had to think about what makes something top, in my opinion. So I went back and looked through the pistols that made an impact on me in one way or another. There are 7 of them. To be a YouTuber, let's get into it. First off, by manufacturer alphabetical order, is the Beretta APX A1 Compact, seen here with a Viridian RFX 44 enclosed emitter dot on top. Now, this is a very affordable gun. Why would I care? Well, I found that the fit and finish was spectacular, well above and beyond what I expected for the MSRP, and I just had a great time shooting it. It's an overall really solid gun, very comfortable to shoot, very easy to control, obviously dot ready, fiber optic front sight. The chassis system lends some promise if maybe Beretta or someone else wants to get in on that and make this thing a little more versatile. But overall, really enjoyed this gun. The only hangback I had, or holdup I had on it, is the barrel length. I prefer 4 inches or longer for 9mm because I want my ammunition to perform as intended if something's going to be used as a defensive gun. I understand not everyone can get away with that, and that's why these smaller guns exist. But for me, the only reason why I didn't consider this for carry was that barrel length, which may not be a fair thing to say since I carry a 3 1/4 inch in the summertime anyways. I don't know. Foot in mouth right there. How about that? It's a great pistol. It really impressed me. I find it shocking that it didn't catch on more. These things are always got rebates, always have sales going on. Maybe that's what's causing the damage, because to me, when I see rebates and big sales like that, it makes me feel like something's about to be discontinued and abandoned. And so maybe folks don't want to get too deep into a gun that's about to disappear. But the APX A1 is a sleeper, and if you have a chance to pick one up, either this one or the full size, which I was about to buy, I tried to buy, but Grab a Gun canceled my order twice. So I'll wait till I see it at a good price somewhere else before I pick it up, one of those. But this is definitely something worth picking up if you're in the market for a good quality compact that just checks all the boxes. It's a really nice pistol at a surprising price. Number 2 for me, in alphabetical order again, by manufacturer, was the BUL Armory TAC. I already was a fan of BUL Armories, that's no questions asked. I moved to them for both summer and winter carry, carrying the ultralight for summer and the EDC for a winter gun. The TAC adds a little bit more weight with a steel frame instead of aluminum versus the EDC, and a full-length dust cover, and that's really the only difference here. This became a pistol I loved because, as a defensive shooter, I don't always spend a lot of time with stuff that's more competition-oriented or stuff that is a little more gamer gun-oriented. I mean, I do them every once in a while, but I spend most of my time on defensive carry stuff. This is heavier than I would want to carry. However, that weight makes for one heck of a great shooting experience. And for me, the opportunity to try out the TAC was amazing because I already loved the EDC. It used to be called the SAS2 TAC 4 1/4 aluminum frame. Now that the TAC is a separate model with the steel and that longer dust cover, adding all that weight up front there really makes it a joy to shoot. It is a fun gun to shoot. While still not quite a race gun, it is a, I guess you could say, practical competition gun. The trigger on mine is very fine, and that combined with slapping on a large window green dot like this RFX 35 from Viridian, this has become my, like, if I just want to go to the range and have fun, this is a great gun for that. So for me, the impression, or the learned thing, I guess you could say, what made it remarkable was just how much that extra weight up front really helps a lot in shooting and makes shooting fun, and maybe explains why we see so many YouTubers mount a giant flashlight on the front of their pistols. I thought they were doing it just to look like they had better control of the gun, because the gun stays flatter, but it's also a lot more pleasant to shoot. Having weight up there, which the TAC does already with its rail. I don't know, if you threw a giant light on there, would it be too much weight? Be curious to maybe try that someday. Number 3 was a surprise, the Derya Arms Melik. Me like the Melik. I would be shocked if there hasn't already been someone that played that. I thought about doing it, but you know my full reviews, it's all facts and business, so I didn't want to say it in the video. But anyways, this is a Beretta 92 FS clone that is really nicely done and very affordable. A very smooth trigger. I love the decocker function. You can also leave that down for safety to have a very safe gun. And much in the way that the Langdon Tactical 92 Elite LTT taught me to relook and rethink the M9 that I hated in the Army. But that one's done up and got some fanciness and some gunsmithing and is a rather expensive gun. This is a very affordable clone that is nicely made. And I've shot other clones that to me felt kind of like a midlife Army pistol, as in it wasn't dead yet, but it was on the way and just wasn't great. This was just a super smooth, easy shooter. In fact, in working with a couple of newer shooters, this has been a pistol that I've taken out for them because it's a comfortable gun to shoot, very easy to control. The safety and decocker plus hammer combination is very obvious, so it's a great thing for newer shooters. And there's no denying when an action is open or there's a malfunction with the open slide top design. The Derya Arms Melik, and this also made a couple of the viewer and reader lists, I believe, as well. Nice pistol. Next, of course, you knew there was going to be a Ground Power. This one surprised me. The Ground Power Mark 23 line, we had to wait about a year for it to hit the US. Did go over to Slovakia to get some first shots on early models a year prior while we were waiting for the stuff to come to the US, and they changed the action is still rotating barrel, but they changed the way it rotates, which I was a little nervous about. But made it optics ready, and though the grips look the same, the actual texture is greatly enhanced, so you're getting better traction. And as many of you know, I was a long time fan of the K100. Freaking love that gun. Took it to many courses, shot the snot out of multiple versions of the K100. So why the Q? Well, I found that I shot this slightly better, which was kind of shocking and a big paradigm shift for me. Now, you do get a slightly longer sight radius with a striker model than a hammer model because the slide is longer itself. That probably also changes the mass and the weight balance of the gun slightly because you don't have as much mechanism down here in the grip, but you also don't need as much up top. Striker fired guns are cheaper and simpler to make. I mean, that's part of why the industry has pushed them on all of us. The margins are better. But what really got me with the Q100 was the way Ground Power went about doing the safety dingus on the trigger. In almost every striker fired gun that I've fired, well, yeah, pretty much every non-Ground Power striker fired gun that I can think of, the safety dingus is super lightweight and is just kind of there more as a drop safety than anything else. What Ground Power did was made the actual trigger part very light. The dingus is the heavy part, which not only makes it more of a functional safety than, you know, it goes beyond just being a drop safety, but also once you take up the pressure needed for that safety dingus and you can feel flush trigger behind your finger, it's there. It's much like a fine two-stage rifle trigger, but in a pistol. And as a result, this thing is very easy to shoot precise shots with, to time your shot perfectly and if you ride reset, very, very easy to run quickly. Yet, as soon as your finger comes off the trigger, it's actually safer than most other striker-fired pistols because that dingus requires more force to deactivate the safety. Brilliant, brilliant design. I have yet to hear anybody else discuss that. I don't know how they're ignoring that or not mentioning it. I don't know why it's not a major industry news part. I guess it just goes to show you that sometimes the awards and award things out there like the Gundies where they say, you know, most innovative and all this kind of stuff, they're not actually looking at the products or the brands, because this is a new way of doing a striker-fired trigger that is safer, both safer for carry and daily use, and better for speed, competition, you know, having fun use at the same time. Everyone else, you get one or the other. You get either a heavy, safe trigger, or you get something that's fun on the range, but maybe possible liability. Gram Power found a way to split the difference with a spectacular trigger. And the new rotation system, just as good. I can't say if it's smoother or less smooth than the Mark 12, which means that they really did their homework on engineering to make sure that those of us that have been shooting the Mark 12 for a decade or so aren't disappointed with the Mark 23s. These are really, really sweet pistols, and I'm glad they finally made it to the US. Next in, the Ranger Arms RA9. Another budget-friendly gun, another manufacturer that came out of nowhere. Hadn't heard of it before. Turkish manufacturer, and it's funny to hear people say, oh, it's a Glock clone or whatever. No, this is quite different. You can see, especially because of the two-tone, that big bar of black there back is steel. This has a really beefy internal chassis-like system. I think they didn't make it easily removable or whatnot, because I know overseas, many countries can't get away with the chassis system that we have here in the US for, you know, removing a fire control unit type thing to swap it due to their own local laws, and so it has to be permanently in the frame. That's just all theory on this. But what I loved about this is it's got excellent texture. The weight and beef of that chassis in there makes this a very smooth shooter. It's got a nice trigger, very, very comfortable gun to shoot. And it impressed me. I mean, those are all good enough, but to also be the first time that Ranger Arms has been seen in the US market and just hit us with a spectacular gun like this right off the bat, very exciting. I look forward to future releases from Ranger Arms. Following that beefcake feature concept, the SAR / SAR SAR USA, they keep rebranding and changing how it's sold in the US, but you'll see any of those. 9C Gen 3, excellent, excellent pistol. The ergonomics are spectacular. The slide cuts, while stylish, are also quite functional in reducing reciprocating mass, which helps with recoil control quite a bit. The trigger on this thing, very predictable, optics ready. You've got night vision sights and a good looking gun, all at a relatively affordable price. The back straps, like a Gram Power, wrap on 3 sides of the gun, so you're changing not just the angle and how your hand feels back here, but also hand feel for the rest of the gun. Lets you really get a custom fit. Spectacular gun. I wish SAR and I had better interactions. It's weird. I reviewed like 9 of their guns, and then they just ignored me after the fact that I was like, hey, let me help you with this. And I got lots of empty promises at trade shows and things of sending stuff. So even like this was a purchase, despite the fact that I was on track for being sort of one of the US sources of information about SAR pistols. But industry politics doesn't matter in something like this. What we're talking about is the guns, and the SAR 9C Gen 3 is a really, really nice pistol. It is a bit heavier than its equivalency Glock 19 size gun. I think we can all agree that Glocks are a great classic, but they are outdated. And while they still function fine, there's nothing wrong with having a Glock. The Glock platform itself is sort of past its life cycle. Anyways, it's always referred to because everyone knows what a Glock 19 is. 4-inch 9mm with 15 rounds. This size family of gun, this is heavier than most of those you're going to find out there, but as a result, it shoots much smoother than most of those. So if you don't mind carrying a little bit of extra weight, this would be a great option as a carry gun, or if you want something that's kind of the do-all. And part of why that 4-inch barrel 15 round 9mm combo became so popular is it's generally small enough for most people to carry, large enough for most people to control. You can practice with something that you're willing to carry. You're willing to carry something that you're willing to shoot, and can also double for home defense. It's small enough to tuck in for a vehicle gun, all that kind of stuff. This really excels at that, with a slight minus being that it's heavier. But if you're a shooter and not just someone who wears a gun all the time, you know that that weight makes a difference. So SR9C Gen 3, nice one to consider. And the last one for me was the Sig 365 Fuse. What's old is new again, and what's new is old again kind of situation. What we have is the Sig 365 fire control unit, which means that you can swap the grip size, slide size, all that to whatever you can get your hands on. But with the Fuse, we went to 17 round mags and a 4.3 inch barrel. So we're getting basically a full-size gun that is super thin. And that I really like. As I've said before, I prefer to carry at least a 4-inch barrel so I get proper velocity for defensive ammunition. And 17 rounds on tap is a nice thing to have. The thinness, however, makes it much more comfortable to carry. Now, usually a thin gun means you're going to have higher pounds per square inch of recoil force sent into your hand, right? The narrower it is, the less area there is to absorb all of that. But with this 4.3 inch barrel, the longer slide, moving a little bit slower, it's much more controllable and makes it really comfy. And then when you slap on something like an Icarus grip module that's got a thumb rest and all the ergonomic things there, it really becomes a nice shooting gun. And for me, was kind of the paradigm shift of the 365 not being too small anymore, because with my banana hands, I can get all 3 fingers on this. Carried this gun to TriggerCon and had intended to take it to a training course, but then had to take a business trip. But anyways, Sig Fuse is pretty good. So those 7 were big influential, or made me think, or my most notable handguns from 2024 reviews. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, if you tried any of these or have any of these, and what your thoughts are on that top 5 from the readers list and that top 5 from the viewers list. You can either find those other videos on the second channel on YouTube. Everything, of course, is all on one channel on Rumble, or to see all of the list in a row, as well as the deeper dive reviews of any of the guns from those 3 lists. Of course, check the pinned comment over on my site, is where the real article lives. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for a good year. I'm looking forward to 2025, which should be starting.
GBGuns, and I do 2-level. Andrew P, Joseph T, Randy A, Al G, Peter A, Tom, Moises S, Fast Eddie, Talo Twan 15, Brian P, Sky King Derek S Jr. Thanks for the tip level, David P, Kratos, the God Slayer, Andrew Bealey H, Christopher JJS, Farron and Gryphones, Jeff O, Michael W, David G, O Katuba, Fred L, Robert B, Ohio Cruffler, Steve, Briscoe County Junior, Rich R, Red Sky, Wahid Z, Fierce 7, Nisink, Uncle Munzie, David F, Allen B, Laura P, Andrew C. Keeping things honest level, Gary B, Layfess, Daniel D, Ed Z, Jake J, Adam J, Brad M, George H, Othniel M, Cody W, Mark's S, O, Tetra, Lewis R, Eric P, Logan G, Brian K, RBMD 2022, A, Gil B. Ron Z. Gort, Mike NC, Technocon, FMT CJ, Ronald LW, Russ P, Marvin T, Tattoo Johnny, GPC, 19D, he is 6, Robert C.